Well, wouldn't you know it? We have another problem on the main line. This time on the Ronkonkoma branch. Signal trouble at Farmingdale, and we are not moving. We've been sitting here about 5 minutes. And trying to get to the Pine Barrens today, but Patrick Nowakowski is making it hard for us. So here we go, looking at the phone. They've canceled the westbound train already. If we go here, let's see. Finally on the move. Yeah, it's another day, another problem with the main line. I gotta make a video every time there's a problem with the main line. And there was an editorial today in Newsday asking for Patrick Nowakowski to go. But the MTA board is in no rush to get rid of him. We know why. So yeah, we have signal trouble around Farmingdale, so we're proceeding very slowly. This is going to result in delays on the Ronkonkoma Line now. When you look at the condition of these tracks, when you look at the condition of this infrastructure, there's no reason why. Why wasn't this shit ever upgraded? It's the railroad, this is the sticks. We don't count. We don't count. Canceled the extra train that comes from here because of this problem that there is. Gotta slow it going. Because the signals are down, that's probably why. Seems pathetic. I feel like you're on some old rickety railroad. Yes, those are pitch points. Apparently Patrick Nowakowski hates those. That's probably why he treats the Ronkonkoma branch so badly. Oh my god, it's pathetic. This is what we have to deal with. This is what we have to deal with.
authorized late fee. Pine North will be the next stop. We have 12 cars. You must take the last 2 cars up the straight, last 2 cars in order to enter the tunnel.
Track circuit problem. Funny thing is, I don't even see anyone around here to fix it. So it'll probably be like this all day long. Of course, if this was happening on the Babylon branch, it would have been taken care of immediately. There we go. So stressed out at what's going on. So I'm thinking a trip to the Pine Barrens. And even the trip to the Pine Barrens is stressing me out. At least we should be there in 10 minutes. Closely, there's a tree that's getting affected by southern pine beetle right there. You can see the red needles. Yep, going to be a lot of that this year. Yeah, you can see them now even more than ever. The sun's coming back out. There you go. Signal trouble. We get to look forward to it going back now from the Pine Barrens. You can see we got signal trouble. It's still an ongoing issue. They still haven't fixed it yet. Been here almost 2 hours. They still haven't fixed it yet. 15 to 20 minute delays. I bet you they won't fix it for the rush hour and they're going to cancel trains. And now let's talk about the problem that happened today on the Long Island Railroad on the Ronkonkoma Line. There was signal trouble at Farmingdale, and it resulted in delays of up to 20 minutes. Really, one train was like 36 minutes late, and the cancellation of some trains too. So 12:16 from Farmingdale due in Penn and 11:15 is canceled due to signal trouble near Farmingdale. And this is what's going on. We have this signal trouble because the tracks and the signals are not being maintained properly. And then there was a police investigation at Jamaica. It looked like it was involving this train here, the Penn due in Babylon, from Penn due in Babylon. So eastbound train to Babylon was delayed, and also it seemed to have affected the Long Beach train too as well. Then they finally straightened it out. Luckily, they did finally straighten out that signal problem on the Ronkonkoma line before the evening rush, then they wound up canceling a Babylon train. A westbound train from Babylon was canceled to Jamaica due to an equipment problem. So every day it's always something on the Long Island Railroad. Of course, the Babylon branch seems to escape most of this, But it's clear, Nowakowski, he only cares about the Babylon branch. But there are a lot of people that take the main line, a lot of people, and we cannot have the main line being neglected the way it is. And something hopefully will happen very soon, and hopefully that involves the departure, the dismissal, or the firing of Patrick Nowakowski from the head of the Long Island Railroad. It's time for change at the Long Island Railroad. The time has come. We've waited long enough. Nowakowski must go. This is a Newsday editorial that I'm going to read to you. Finally, even Newsday is coming around and saying Patrick Nowakowski has to go. Yes, finally. So here's the article I'm going to read to you. At a meeting of the well, it's not an article, it's an opinion piece. But at a meeting of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's Long Island Railroad Committee on February 20th, Long Island Railroad President Patrick Nowakowski took full blame for the railroad problems. "This is about me," he said. "This is my responsibility. It has been my responsibility for going on 4 years. The question for the MTA's leadership is whether after 4 years Nowakowski deserves any more time to get the job done. On behalf of LIRR riders, we made that decision more than a month ago when we first said it was time for him to go. The need for change at the top of the Long Island Railroad was made even more clear by Friday's service meltdown during a nor'easter, the latest in a series of bad days for the rail line, where equipment failures and communication breakdowns have become the norm. On Monday, MTA Chairman Joseph Lahota and MTA Managing Director Ronnie Hakim were silent on Nowakowski, and that spoke volumes. If he is not replaced, they must defend his tenure and explain to the public why he remains on the job. We need to do more, Nowakowski said last month. That's an understatement. It's not an easy job. The more than 700 miles of track on the current country's busiest commuter railroad cannot be protected from every weakened tree or utility pole. Weather happens, cars stall on the tracks, and machinery fails. Most of Nowakowski's riders understand that. What they can no longer accept is Nowakowski's inability to take control of the Long Island Railroad's disorganized culture. Friday's storm showed the consequences of his failure to develop a comprehensive plan that holds individuals responsible for performance. He still hasn't made clear to his organization that the customer is at the center of its mission. Friday's nor'easter hit hard. Service was slowed and or suspended across Nassau County, and the delays worsened after a PSEG pole fell across the main line tracks during the evening rush. The problem was exacerbated by the railroad's insufficient response. Top Long Island Railroad managers should have been sent out of their offices and onto the platforms to help control the crowds and provide information. The failure to coordinate and communicate information about how soon lines could be put back in service and what alternatives riders should consider created hours of chaos. The events followed the horrific month of January, which saw the LIRR's worst on-time performance in 22 years, accompanied by problems with equipment, maintenance, and communication. In February, Nowakowski outlined a performance improvement plan that seemed to focus on those concerns. But he hasn't written a released plan, metrics to evaluate success, a timeline for implementation, or a budget to show what it would cost. MTA officials have said they hope to have specific plans in writing shortly. That's not good enough. Indeed, Friday's insane commute laid bare all of the Long Island Railroad's troubles in one very bad night. Except on the Babylon branch, of course. They didn't say that. I'm just saying that. At this point, there's little assurance the Long Island Railroad, under the same leadership, will be able to fulfill its promise to do more. It's time for a new conductor at the Long Island Railroad. Get the trains moving or get out of the way. Thank you, Newsday. And this is one I'm going to give a huge amount of credit to Newsday on this. Altice, Cablevision, News 12. News 12 didn't mention this, but I'm going to give a huge credit that they are finally talking. You know things have gotten ridiculously bad when Optimum, Cablevision, Altice, which owns Newsday, is getting involved in saying Nowakowski has to go. It is clear now that Patrick Nowakowski must resign as the head of the Long Island Railroad or be fired by Joe Lhota. There is no other outcome at this point. If Joe Lhota does not fire Nowakowski, then it's clear that Joe Lhota is also a problem and needs to be replaced.